in the world.
What's up, friends? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. You can call me Captain James Holden. Welcome to Sunday Q&A. DJI hurt my neck. After 6 days in a row of 6 to 8 hours of building a day, you know, here, like this, build. I hurt my neck. Go figure. I go 4 or 5 months without my yoga practice. Don't take care of my body. About to turn 41 years old, and then spend 6 to 8 hours a day for 6 days in a row, hunched over working on stuff. And there's consequences. What I will say is, so Friday night, I tweaked it and it started to really hurt. Yesterday, I canceled DJI Day 7, and I think maybe for the first time in my life, instead of just manning up, whatever the hell that means, the definition of man is very different than I think it used to be. I took yesterday and I just threw the whole day away, and I just laid on the couch. I stayed in positions that didn't hurt my neck. Every other time I've ever hurt my neck or my back, I'm like, no, I'm a man. Ah! I'm the strongest man
in the world.
And I just mashed through it, and I have neck and back pain for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and I'm miserable. This time I didn't do that, and I actually rested for an entire day. And you're not gonna believe this. I'm not lying. I swear to God, I'm not lying. I have no reason to lie about this. You're still not gonna believe it. It works. I took it easy, and now it's way better after just one day. Why didn't anybody tell me? We really, if it weren't for women, the human race wouldn't exist. I mean, genetically, sure. But if everyone had the brain of a man, we'd be doomed. Welcome to Friday. No, it's not Friday. Welcome to Sunday Q&A. I'm going to be sat here. I'm going to answer questions in the chat. And then that's going to be it. I'm going to continue to take it easy. I'm going to throw the rest of this night away. Bot might actually be coming by with Maddie. Bot needs a frame and an ESC. So he's going to come by and snag them, and I'm going to let him use the workbench. And we'll hang out, and that'll be fun, but I'm just gonna, be holed up on the couch, motionless. So, that should be fun. In the chat, if you want to talk to me, all you gotta do is type CiottiFPV. I'm gonna be very stiff, for the record. This is gonna be stiff day. That's what she said. If you type CiottiFPV, it'll light up an orange, and I'll know that you're talking to me. If you don't, I won't know that you're talking to me, and I won't talk back to you. So, you can use that to your advantage if you want to talk shit on me. Just don't tag me, and I won't see it. If you want to support the madness that is trying to make FPV a full-time career, which is tough, you can do a super chat, or you can head on over to CiottiFPV.com. Buy yourself something nice. Go to my Etsy store and buy yourself something nice. It supports me. Teespring as well. Book a one-on-one session with me. I am doing discounted rates for weekly sessions. Couple of folks expressed interest in doing every single week, half hour or hour long flight instruction session, or build planning session, or tuning session, or just Q&A, one-on-one questions and answers from someone that's been here for 5.5 years, who for the last year or so has been in the has been flying paying gigs. If you want some of that knowledge delivered directly to your ear holes, book me. And if you book me week after week, if we pick a time slot Thursday at 2:00, there is going to be a discount there. So hit me up, let me know. You don't have to do it through Fiverr. You can just message me, CiottiFPV, on Instagram or Facebook or wherever. And yeah, I'll lock you in on a weekly time slot, and we'll meet every week. I'll put it on the calendar, and you can learn a whole lot in a whole little time. I would have killed to have somebody that was doing that back when I was new, because you spend an awful lot of time looking for the answers to questions, and if you just put, write a week's worth of those questions down and you can get all those answers in a half an hour or an hour, what's your time worth, yo? Like if it takes you 6 hours to find the answers to all those questions, you could get it in a half an hour for $30-40. Isn't that worth it? Isn't hours and hours and hours of your time worth $30-40 or $70-80? I don't know. Question is for you to answer. Also, you're going to get answers that are, when you go and you search, part of the thing that takes a lot of time hunting down answers on the internet is weeding through all the horrible information, right? Like 99% of responses to Facebook posts or YouTube comments are from people that don't know shit about shit. So you tend to get steered wrong, and then you waste $80-90 on an ESC that catches on fire or an AIO that just sucks a big old bag of donkey. And you're back to square one. There's a bunch of affiliate links there too. If you ever find yourself doing an order on Amazon for anything, FPV Crate, FPV Cycle, a whole bunch of other websites, God's site, Get FPV, hit my affiliate link before you check out, or change your bookmark to my affiliate link, or change your URL autofill to my bookmark, my affiliate link, and you won't even have to think about it. In the chat, Michael D was first, Yellow Captain was next, Apache Smoke Wound the Sniper, Akash Jana, Win Jumby, Grizz FPV, Richard, Frank Nicholas, Elijah, Cole Powers, Dan636, Northern Tier, Braden's Baked Beans, Compost Pile, Richard, Chomper, Espander, what's up people, Ryan Wilson, Michael D, Somatic Cinema is in the house, Rick Kennedy, Goody FPV, Esk Race, Dead Chicken FPV, that name will never not make me giggle inside. Costa FPV, Richard, Freelojo, Somatic again, Remy Tim, KO FPV. Hey, Somatic, thanks for the reminder, brother. Somatic works for indoor drone tours, and they're looking for a pilot in Chicago. So if you're an experienced pilot, ready to do some cinematic work, hit up Somatic Cinema or Indoor Drone Tours on Instagram, and yeah, throw your hat in the ring. Maybe you'll get chosen. Tony Morgan, Frank Nicholas, Razzie B, I pronounced it wrong, KOFPV, Richard Abraham, Michael D, RGMG, Win Jumby. All right, we're gonna leave it there. Cheesehead FPV. If you want the Gangly Man to read your name, you gotta get in early, gotta say something in the chat, or just tag me, or do a super chat. Yellow Captain says, second, how are you doing today? Better than yesterday. That's for sure. Apache says, finally the house is empty and I got my coffee, so I'm ready for the best live stream in the world. I almost had it. I double clicked it. Apache says, how's your neck feeling? A little bit better. A lot better. A lot better. A lot better. A lot better. Dan636 says, hey man, can I get a clam man? 諦めんなよ。諦めんなお前。どうしてそこでやめるんだそこで。もう少し頑張ってみろよ。ダメダメダメやめ諦めたら周りのことを思うよ。応援してる人たちのことを思ってみろって。あともうちょっとのところなんだから。俺だってこのマイナス10度のところしじみが取れるって頑張ってんだよ。絶対やってみろ。必ず目標達成できる。だからこそネバーギブアップ。There it is, friends. Get yourself a little bit of clam man, especially when you're working on quads. It's very necessary. Brandon's Baked Bean says, neck feeling better a little bit. Chomper says, what's up, dude? How's your neck? It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Rick Kennedy says, hey, CiottiFPV and everybody else. Somatic says, we got that. Frank Nicholas dropping the link to CiottiFPV.com. Thank you, dude. Dan636 says, what track you at? That's Lanier Raceway. That was 2 years ago, I think. Yeah, that was 2 years ago. 8/14/2020. Michael D says, CiottiFPV should make a t-shirt with the thumbnail for the stream. You guys like that? You guys like the thumbnail, huh? I thought that was a good one. You know what's funny? There's been... I realized the other day, this is not the first time that I've made my neck, my back hurts thumbnail. I tend to go on. We were talking about this last night. I did a little Gran Turismo stream from the couch. We were talking about it on there. I tend to like binge on stuff, so I tend to like every once in a while I'll get in the mood to actually build, and I'll build like every day for a little while. I wonder if. So I've been streaming for about 1.5 years, and this has happened at least one other time. I think maybe 2 other times. I wonder if it's related. You know what I mean? I wonder if every time that's happened, I could probably find out. I could probably just like go to my video list on my channel and search for like neck or back, and then I could find the dates of the neck and back pain stream episodes, and then I could just look at the previous couple of days and see if I was building a bunch. I bet you it's related, though. I bet you it is. And so that got me thinking. I think when I move at the end of June or end of July, I forget which. I think when I move, this desk here, this is an Ikea desk, and the legs are adjustable. You pick it up, you spin the leg, you can pull it out, and then you can spin it back in to lock it. I'm gonna move this desk up. I'm gonna raise this desk up, and I think I already have, yeah, I can go a little bit lower. This desk chair was almost as low as it would go. I mean, you guys just saw the amount of adjustment. It was like that much. I'm gonna keep this chair all the way down. It's not gonna be good for my shoulders. You're not supposed to sit with you're supposed to sit in a way that your arms are in like this. I've never been able to do that because I have anxiety and very sweaty armpits. I don't know if I actually have very sweaty armpits. It could just be from the anxiety. But my armpits sweat a lot, so I can't really sit like this because my shirts just get absolutely soaked. So I always sit with my arms up like this a little bit just to get a little bit of airflow in there, you know? Which is, you know, apparently that's not good for your shoulders, but I don't know. We'll try it, see what happens. Does it look like I'm sitting lower? It's probably better because I lean forward a lot, but I'm not going to lean forward much today. The M3, actually, it's not even M3 anymore. It's just the TX Stick and Dick End Fund. This is I'm putting together a kit. I've spent probably like almost $300 already. I'm putting together a kit of every single stick end, M3 and M4. I was just gonna do it for M3, but then I don't know. I'm a sucker, so I got convinced to do it for M3 and M4. Yeah, I'm gonna put this big kit together. I'm gonna pick my favorite. I'm gonna replace it. And then I'm going to send this kit to patrons. And when you get the kit, you, as quickly as possible, try to figure out which one is your favorite. You put the kit back together, and you send it to the next person. And, yeah, it's kind of the only way to figure out which stick end that you like the best, because, you know, you're not going to spend $200, $300 on every single stick end to get to try them all. You know what I'm saying? And there's only so many local pilots that you can be like, oh, you have a different set of stick ends. Let me try them. So yeah, that's what the TX Stick and Dick End Fund. I will not be buying dick ends. That's just, you know, me being 8 years old. So that's what that is. If you want to support that, do a super chat or a PayPal. If you want to do PayPal, so the super chats, Google and YouTube take 30%. PayPal, that doesn't happen. If you do a PayPal, you just go to CiottiFPV.com, scroll down, there's a button. make sure you tag me in the chat. Make sure in the chat you say at CiottiFPV, check your PayPal. And I'll go check it and add it to the fund. Michael Dees, we got that. Dan636 says, so refreshing to see someone who knows what they're doing chasing cars, especially those poses on YouTube chasing cars. Yeah, it's a little sketchy. Folks that haven't been flying for a long time, or I mean, it's hard, man. Like chasing cars is incredibly fun. It's incredibly fun, but it's also kind of sketchy, although I don't know if it's actually sketchy, because like if you don't know what you're doing, in theory you're going to be scared to get close to the cars, and then it's whatever. If you're not like all up in their window, you're probably just going to hit the roof of the car or whatever, and these guys, the drift guys, don't care. They think that the more beat up their cars is, the cooler they are. So yeah, they're typically not going to care. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, you don't want to be that guy. So it's a little sketchy. I have a hard time watching a lot of the drift stuff because it's just like, oh God, oh, because you know, within 1 second you can tell if the pilot's been flying for 6 days, 6 months, or 6 years. But yeah, I don't know. I try not to come down too hard, because it's like, it's easy for me to say, right? You know, I've been flying for over 5 years. That kind of flying comes very easy to me. And like, I want everybody to have the experience of chasing drift cars, because it's incredibly fun. But I also don't want anybody to get hurt, you know? I don't want FPV to get a black mark on it from going through somebody's windshield and causing a car accident or anything like that. I don't think these rigs would go through somebody's windshield, but you never know. Maggie's in the house. What's up, girl? Dan636 says, it looks like you're still hurting. Your shoulders aren't level. Sorry to hurt you, bro. Sorry you hurt, bro. It's all good, Dan. Shoulders aren't level because the way that I sit at the desk to stream on a diagonal with my right arm up and my left arm down. Yeah, no, if I were to sit normally, I would sit like this. Ooh, still not level. I don't know. I just gotta get my my yoga practice back. I felt so good when I was doing it every day. It just feels great. Expander says, hey, Dead Chicken says, how was your meetup with Bot? I didn't go out. I just stayed in yesterday. Yeah, it's fine. Yarb says, does Bot need a frame? Bangers are indestructible. He actually broke the base plate, yo. He broke the base plate. I think he said it's been, he's had that base plate on there for a long time now. Carbon does, yeah, you put enough energy slams into carbon and it eventually will, everything will eventually break. Elijah Butler says, where are you from / located? I am from Trenton, Hamilton, New Jersey. John Dre FPV subscribed. Thank you, brother. Welcome to the madness, my friend. Jekyll says, I was wondering how tagging worked on YouTube. Thanks. Yeah, there you go, Jekyll. RGMG says, just saw a recent interview you did on your professional work. Good stuff. Thank you, dude. That was fun. Joshua did that interview with me, I think in December of last year, when there was... It's funny. Like, when Joshua did that interview with me, there was absolutely no way in my mind that I would be switching to DJI, because for someone that works professionally, to switch to DJI, you've got to buy 2 sets of goggles, because you can't force the director or the producer or whoever you're interfacing with. You can't expect them to stand right next to you. It's just unrealistic, right? So you have to buy 2 sets of $500+ goggles. Then you have to buy realistically, you have to buy a smart controller, because Yes, there are these setups with phones and external boxes and shit like that. No, not no. None of those setups are anywhere near professional or bulletproof enough that you can bring them onto any kind of a working set. There are just way too many failure points. It's fine for just going out with your friends or whatever and just flying for fun. But in a professional environment, that's an absolute no-go. So you have to have a smart controller. That's another $800. Then you've got duplicates or triplicates of all your gear. So bare minimum, you've got 2 Cinewhoops and 2 5-inch rigs. That's 4 Vista kits. That's another $600+ bare minimum. For me, I then have 2 or 3 more freestyle rigs. I actually have 3 soon. I'll soon have 3 Cinewhoops. So I mean, like, the cost of Vistas is damn near another like $1,000, right? For me. So, you know, we're talking about like a $2,500, $3,000 investment for me to go to DJI, which is one of the biggest reasons that I never have. Yes, you don't have to convert all your gear over, but if you want to continue to grow as a pilot, you got to change all your gear over. You can't have half your gear on one thing, half your gear on another thing. Your muscle memory is going to go to hell. You're going to spend most of your time flying adjusting to either setup. It's just a bad idea. The best thing that you can do for yourself as a pilot, and this is what I've realized over years and years and years and thousands of batteries of flying, the best thing that you can do once you get like more than a year or 2 in, I would say, is unify all your gear and set up everything to fly as similar as possible. Because anytime anything is different between one rig and the next that you fly, you spend a couple of batteries adjusting in your brain and building up a separate set of muscle memory. And that's bad. Like, one of the reasons why Steele is so good is that he has always flown almost the exact same setup over and over and over and over and over again. And that is huge. That consistency in your gear is hugely important. So yeah, when that interview was done in December, all I talked about was analog. Well, last month, February of this year, a bunch of you guys in chat, super generous folks in chat, T-Bird, Matt McConnell, FPV Exchange, are the 3 big folks who really helped out with this. I assume got so fed up with me not reviewing any DJI stuff that they were like, dude, here. And they sent me, between the 3 of them, I've now got a set of V1 goggles, a set of V2 goggles, a whole bunch of Vistas, and then I've bought a bunch of stuff, little knickknacks here and there, antennas and whatnot. And here we are, which was absolutely perfect timing because the beginning of next month, I got hired to do live flying for a bicycle race in a couple hours away from here. And they are going to... and the easiest way to output live flight footage is DJI with a smart controller. You just hook HDMI up to a smart controller, and that's going to go right into their TV truck. And away we go. There'll be live FPV streaming on YouTube. I don't have any info on the event. When it gets closer, I'll hopefully be able to hook you guys up. But yeah, that's sort of what's going on there. I was very surprised that Joshua put up that like raw behind the scenes part of the interview. That's, you know, the full piece that Joshua did with Tommy, Steele, Paul, Nurkala, and myself, that's great, right? Like, seeing what Tommy and Steele and Nurk have to say is awesome, but admittedly, like, you know, those 3 guys are OGs. They've been in the game for like 7 or 8 years. They've been doing cinematic work for 2 or 3 years. This might sound a little bit harsh, but like, realistically, nobody's going to get to that level, myself included. I'm probably never going to get to that level. Maybe I will, but probably not, right? And so, yeah, 99.9% of pilots are also not going to get to that level, right? So what they had to say was really interesting, but on a more realistic scale, where I'm at is where most people can hope to get to and expect to get to, this point where I'm currently kind of at. Music videos, small kind of stuff, GoPro stuff is an easy way to kind of sum that up, right? Like, the whole Cinelifter world is a whole different thing, and it's just, yeah, it's just a completely different thing, and there's a lot of challenges and sketchiness in that world that, to be honest, I have no interest in. I don't want to be flying a 2 kilogram, 3 kilogram rig with a $3,000 camera on it. That's insane. Like, yeah, you make more money on those gigs, but Jesus, the stress level, there's so much more at stake. I'm not really all that interested. Those rigs don't fly all that good, right? I'm way more interested in doing twice as many or 3 times as many gigs that pay a third or a half. But there's a lot more variety with a GoPro rig. But that's just me. If you're dying to get into the world of Cinelifters, good luck. I'm going to say that. Good luck. But to each his or her own. So yeah, that original like full interview I thought was great. James did an amazing job editing it. And then last week Joshua put out like a little behind the scenes with just my part of the interview. So if you haven't checked that out, I think you should check it out because my answers to questions are a lot more relevant, I think, to 99.9% of pilots and where they can potentially get to if they really put their head down and figure out who in their area would benefit from FPV flight footage. It's not going to be music videos everywhere. I live in Atlanta now, sort of the mecca of hip hop at the moment. And so there's a lot of opportunities for music videos here. If you live in, Bumblefuck, there's probably not going to be a big industry for music videos, so you're going to have to figure out what FPV flying fits into. Is it real estate stuff? Is it construction stuff? Is it, I don't know. You're going to have to figure that out. And that's hard. I'm not going to be honest. I'm not going to lie. That's a hard part. And it has nothing to do with FPV, right? Like this is also where a hobby becomes a job. This is where you have to become a marketing person, right? And you're no longer just an FPV pilot. You now work in marketing. And then when you start getting paid, now you work as an accountant as well, right? And these are the things that have the potential of turning a hobby into a nightmare. It's one of the reasons why I, previous to FPV, refused to turn hobbies into jobs because I was afraid that having to do my own marketing, having to do my own accounting, blah, 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 all these other things that come with working for yourself would take away the time that I was able to spend on the hobby. That's a real thing. That is a real thing. I shot stills photography for many years, 15-ish years. There was a point where I was almost certainly good enough to turn it into a job, and I looked really hard at doing that when I lived in Charleston. And after reading a lot and talking to a lot of folks that have done it, they kind of scared me out of it. And I'm not trying to scare you guys out of it. It's not my goal here. But I want to be realistic with you. If I could go back in time, I would do it earlier. FPV is a little bit unique in that we've all kind of gotten in on the ground floor. Photography is infinitely competitive because it's been around forever. Tons of people do it. And there's this there's this attitude with photography that all that matters is the camera, and all that matters is how much money you spend on the camera. You know, as a photographer, every single time someone says, "Ooh, your camera must take great pictures," it's like a goddamn dagger through your heart, because the camera doesn't do shit. You do everything. You push all the manual buttons and set all the manual settings to make images look good, and then spend hours and hours and hours poring over them in post-processing. FPV, there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of that. People do tend to go, "Oh, wow, that must be expensive." But then when you look them right in the eyes and say, "Nah, it's about $300. It's just, they're like, "Oh, wait, what? Oh, can you build me one?" "I can." "Do you got 2 years to learn how to fly?" "No?" "All right. Sucks for you. Looks like you're going to be hiring me then." You know, so FPV is a little bit of a different situation, because there aren't many of us, and it's just not something that anyone can pick up and do, right? Like, you have to be incredibly invested to be able to do this, and you have to spend an incredible amount of time. So that makes it a very, very different situation. And yeah, if you can find a niche, you can do it for a living, for sure. For sure you can. It ain't gonna be easy though. If it's easy, everybody would be doing it. It's gonna be, you know, just as hard as it was to learn to fly. It's gonna be probably even harder to figure out how on earth to get tied in with the people that are actually gonna pay you, and the people that are gonna actually understand what FPV can do that a photography drone can't. Because photography drones are a dime a dozen, and people that fly them and businesses that fly them are kind of all over the place now. So yeah, there you guys go. Cheesehead FPV says, "I got a question. Just got 6S, and I have DJI 2450 KVs, but I made them." Oh, there's another comment here. "Made them switchable, but rated only for 5S. What will happen?" I don't know what it means when you say I made them switchable, but I'm going to make an assumption here that this is a 5-inch freestyle rig. If it's not a 5-inch freestyle rig, then what I'm about to say isn't really applicable. But if it's a 5-inch freestyle rig, what you want to do is go into Betaflight, go into the PIDs tab. Down at the bottom, there's motor scaling, or motor limiting. I think it's motor scaling. You want to turn that motor scaling down to 70% to get started. You can also adjust it in the OSD. It's called the same thing. Crank it down to 70%, go out and fly it, pay really close attention to the motor temperatures. As long as the motor temperatures are cool, so like hover it for 30 seconds, land it, touch the motors, make sure they're not boiling hot. Take it up, rip it around for another 30 seconds, bring it down, make sure the motors aren't hot. If the motors are not hot, now you can go full throttle and see if you have enough power. If you have enough power, great, leave it alone. If you don't have enough power, change that motor limiting to 75%, see if that's enough power. 80%, see if that's enough power. If at 70% it's too much power, turn it down to 65%. You will fly better the less power that you have. You want to set your motor limiting at the minimum amount of power that you can stand, because the less power you have in your 1-inch throttle throw, the better throttle control and the better throttle resolution that you're going to have. And that is one of the big things that that differentiates a good pilot from a great pilot. So set that motor limiting down as low as you possibly can stand, and enjoy having not had to rebuy all of your motors. Be really careful. DYS motors. DYS is arguably the motor manufacturer with the poorest quality control. So be super careful. Make sure the motor heat is under control. Michael D says, "Just bought almost one of everything on your Etsy store." Nice, Michael. Thanks, dude. That's very cool of you. Hey, speaking of the Etsy store, and Michael D, let me know if you want me to do this. One of the things that I've been offering here, I have this big-ass tube of Niogel 767A. This is what we're using to put on the carbon fiber arms and base plate and X plate of our rigs to do a little bit of damping. This is damping grease. I don't know if that's actually what it is, but that's what we're using it for. I think that's what it is, though. I think it's specifically meant to damp vibrations. It absolutely works. It's not a miracle, but it'll get you like a 2%, maybe even more than that, decrease in vibrations. It's never going to make it worse. It's only going to ever make the situation better. So there's really no reason to not do it. But you only use like the tiniest little bit of it. Like you just spread the thinnest little layer. So this tube here would last me 10,000 years. So if you do an Etsy order, you can leave a note. There's a little notes field, you know, just like every website ever, when you do an order. In your notes field, if you want to try some of this, since I have enough forever, just put a note in, yo, Ciotti, can you hook me up with some of that damping gel? Or, yo, Ciotti, I need more lube. Whatever you want to say. I will take some of this. I'll squeeze it. I'll squeeze some of this into a little baggie so it doesn't get all over everything, and I'll throw it in your envelope with your stuff. So Michael D, let me know if you want me to do that. Yeah, you can. I'll squeeze enough in there so that you pretty much have enough for all your rigs, and you'll be good to go. Athix says, was just flying the 9-inch. Jesus. 9 inches, friends. That's gotta hurt. Neoflow. Why am I such a child? Neoflow FPV says, yo, CiottiFPV. T-Bird says, I think you got kicked off his sub list. No, it's just YouTube's notifications don't work. Hey, here's a good reason to join my Patreon for $3 whole a month. I will email you every single time I'm about to live stream. YouTube's notification system, it just doesn't work. It's just broken, and it's been broken forever. Not forever, but for a long time. So it's pretty much never gonna work. Click the bell, do all that shit. But it's not gonna make a difference. So if you want to make sure you catch my streams, scrounge around 10 cents a day. That's all it costs. Join my Patreon. There's a link over on CiottiFPV.com. And I will email you personally every single time I live stream. I also put it up in the super secret Facebook group that you get access to, and the Discord channel that you'll get access to as well. So you won't miss any more streams. You will also get access to audio versions of these live streams, so that if you don't want to look at my big dumb face, you can just put your phone in your pocket and listen to me as a podcast to just suck up all this juicy knowledge that I have learned in the past 5+ years. Well worth $3 a month. There's a whole bunch of other benefits. I have a bunch of tech articles over there, how to tune the easy way, how to just, I don't know, how to get a longer penis, all the good things. It's all going on. ImpFPV says, hi host, CiottiFPV and the rest. Rumi Tim says, I never expected DJI week to stand for dude just injured himself week. Nice. T-Bird says, the last time was when you hurt your back getting a drone out of the car on a lift. What? Getting a drone out of car on a lift? Last time was when you hurt your back getting a drone out of car on a lift. I don't remember that. I blocked it out. John Dre says, hey CiottiFPV, I'm 16 and now have 2 quads with a Hero 3. Do you think a Hero 6 Black is a good investment? I would not consider anything that we're going to put onto a quad an investment, because there's such a good chance that you're going to smash the shit out of it, and or just lose it completely. So I'm not going to use the word investment, but if you can find a Hero 6 Black for cheap, I would definitely snag it. The Hero 6 is kind of like the magical, the magical little unicorn at the moment. It's the cheapest Hero that you're going to find because it's the oldest. It still does 4K though. Still does 60 frames. It doesn't do 60 frames in 4K, but you can set it up to do 4K. You can also set it up to do 60 frames. And that's a big deal. Like that's, you know, it's nice and lightweight. It's the lightest weight of the Heroes, in terms of, you know, versus the 7, 8, 9, 10. So yeah, if you can find a Hero 6 cheap, I don't know what they sell for. Spend some time on eBay and maybe like OfferUp. I think Craigslist is kind of done at this point. But yeah, spend some time shopping around eBay and OfferUp to see what they're selling for. And then yeah, if you can find one for the lower end of that, Hero 6 is a great deal. I have one that I'm going to be ripping apart to make a naked Hero 6 at some point this year. And so yeah, but I'm not going to use the word investment because, yeah, everything in this hobby gets obliterated at some point or another. So just keep that in mind. YouTube did the thing, so I'm scrolling back up. Shameless FPV says, Tooth Fairy 2 build looks cool. Could be the 3-inch freestyle frame. Shame it's out of stock, so can't get it anyway. Do you know the arm thickness? I'm gonna make an assumption that the... I hope you appreciate this. I'm bending over and moving around. I'm gonna make an assumption that the regular 3-inch arms... I'm shocked it doesn't say it. It doesn't give you the arm thickness spec on the website. But I don't have any of the regular 3-inch arms, like the freestyle 3-inch arms. All I have are the Cinewhoop 3-inch arms here. I'm gonna assume though that they're the same thickness. I don't know why they wouldn't be. And it's probably 3 mil. Oh no, it's not. 3.95, 4 millimeters. 4 millimeter thick is the Cinewhoop arms. And like I said, I can't imagine a world where the... that's not true. Yeah, I'll bet the 3-inch freestyle arms are the same thickness as these Cinewhoop arms for it. So yeah, 4 mil. Look at that. I didn't realize that. That's pretty cool. I'm excited that these arms are 4 millimeter. That's probably why it does a better job at isolating vibrations than the Cinesplorer. RGMG says, have you played Uncrashed Sim with drift cars? Thoughts if you have. I have not. Up until very recently, I had very old computers that can't handle the easy sims. If there is a Mac version of Uncrashed, at some point when I get the Mac Mini up and running, I will give it a shot. Because it does look good. I know when I saw a little bit of Uncrashed when Joshua and It's Blunty were testing all the sims, and it looked really good. Abraham says, thanks for the Gears and Gasoline recommendation. Definitely entertaining. Pretty obviously produced to be Top Gear-esque, but entertaining nonetheless. Aber, if you look at some of their older stuff, it's more kind of raw. As Gears and Gasoline gets bigger, they, plan more stuff. Go figure. But yeah, if you want more raw kind of stuff, just look at some of their older stuff. It's all really, really good. If you guys are into cars, Gears and Gasoline is one of the best car channels on YouTube. Mighty Car Mods, Gears and Gasoline. If you're into track day kind of stuff, turning the steering wheel kind of stuff, Speed Academy is... I think Speed Academy is my favorite at the moment. Although, I don't know. It's hard. But yeah, those are 3 of the big ones. Luan Gwyn says, can you make the face cam smaller and the other one bigger? I can. I don't know why I would, though. Would you rather stare at loose wires than this beautiful face? When I work at the bench, I use this. But we're not going to be working at the bench today. I'm just going to be talking because my neck is broken. Because I'm an old man. Jekyll says, switching between analog and HD0 seems to be alright for me till I convert the rest of gear. Jekyll, as you fly more and more and more, and get better and better and better as a pilot, that switching between thing becomes way worse. Because as you get better and better, it becomes all about subtleties, right? Like when you first start doing a thing, you get a lot better really fast. Low-hanging fruit is what it's called in like the business world and the sales world. So you get all this low-hanging fruit that's easy to grab. You get way better. You know, you look at your flight footage from a month ago, you're like, Jesus, I was terrible a month ago. After a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, there's no more low-hanging fruit left. You picked it all off the tree. Now you got to get the higher-hanging fruit. And basically, if in a month in your first year you get 10% better, and then 10% better, and then 10% better, after you get to like 90%, you're only going to start getting 1% better, and then 0.5% better, and then 0.25% better. So as the gains become smaller and smaller and smaller, things like your video latency going from 30 to 40 milliseconds versus 5 or 10, for example, becomes a really big deal. What I love about HD0 is that the latency is locked and it's much lower. So HD0 and analog switching back and forth is going to be a lot less shocking than analog to DJI. Unfortunately, HD0 it's just not ready. There just aren't good enough VTXs at the moment to really make it make sense. It'll get there. It'll definitely get there. But they've got a long road ahead of them. DJI was able to put hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars into R&D on their FPV system all at once with a team of, I don't know, 50 people, 20 people, 100 people, who the hell knows, right? Whereas HD0 is a couple of guys with, much smaller budget. So, yeah, HD0 has a long road ahead of them to catch up with DJI. I hope that they do, because they are FPV enthusiasts through and through. DJI is not. DJI are make money enthusiasts. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what's kind of going. That's my opinion on that. Great thought though. Yeah, it's you bring up a really good point that switching between analog and HD0 is going to be a lot less of an adjustment than analog to DJI. T-Bird says, just wanted to see you keep growing. You have helped me keep going. Love you, bud. Love you too, my man. I've genuinely enjoyed hanging out with Tyler and seeing him turn into a professional drone pilot, really. It's been very, very, very cool to see that happen. Somatic Cinema says, this is why you should come work with me. I would love to, but it's got to be here in Atlanta, Somatic. Can't move to Colorado, unfortunately. Abraham says, some of the people getting into it are coming in with the expectation of more overhead, though. Like you're going to... like if you're going to start a business, $600 shouldn't stand in the way. What's $600? What's $600? I forget what we were talking about at 3:32. Let me go a little bit faster to get caught up here. We'll see how long that lasts. 3 minutes, I give it. Robin Duckett says, I turned my programming hobby into a job, but then that allows me to fly without having to worry about making it into a money-making exercise. Yeah, I did that. I was no regrets that for my first 4-ish years of FPV, I worked as a project manager and just kept it on the side. I don't know. I feel like if I jumped into trying to make money with FPV any earlier than I did, I don't know if it would have worked. I'm really glad that I waited, because it allowed me to get the skill set that has been really necessary. Like, so on some of the gigs that I've flown, I've been at 10/10ths as a pilot. And if I were any worse of a pilot, either something bad would have happened, or it just wouldn't have been as good. So yeah, I'm really happy that I waited as long as I did. I really think that you should be really good as a pilot before you start doing jobs where there are people and or things that you can potentially hit and hurt. That's just me, though. Some people just don't care about others and just say, fuck it, send it! But that ain't me. I ain't that guy. Robin Duckett said, oh, wait, we got that? David Ciotti's in the house. What's up, Dad? Dragonwing FPV says, hey, how's it going? Just entered the party. Dragonwing, if you want to hear about my hurt neck, it's the very first thing I talked about in the stream. You can rewind. Joey Whitaker says, now truer words, bro. I think he meant to say no truer words, bro. I wonder what I was talking about at 3:39. Espander says, Lipo management freaking sucks. Had a good day out, and now I have 23 Lipos to sort out. Yeah, Lipo management is one of the things that when you start flying professionally, you kind of take for granted. When I first started doing... When I first started it, I was charging $200 to $300 for the first hour, and what I realized is that I was spending an awful lot. I was not paying myself much of an hourly rate doing that. Nowadays, it's minimum $500. It's a lot. There's a lot of setup, and there's a lot of teardown, and there's mileage, and there's time. 45 minutes to and from most gigs. Couple of hours on the front and back end, charging and discharging batteries, working on gear. There's a lot. Dealing with all the data, right? Afterwards, you've got many gigs of flight footage that need to be run through RealSteady. That takes a good amount of time. Then you've got to sort all that data out, keep it somewhere safe, have 2 copies of it on site and off site. There's a lot. And so, yeah, it's kind of wild how many things pop up that you completely take for granted when you start doing it for real. So it's kind of stuff you want to definitely keep in mind. Michael D says, would the lube work on Whoops? That is all I'm currently flying. It would not, Michael D, because Whoops don't have removable arms. The damping grease is kind of specifically for the connection point between your base plate, your arm, and then your X plate on the bottom. That's the spot where it does most of its work, basically. So yeah, on a tiny Whoop, you just don't have that. I guess on a tiny Whoop, you could put it in between the motor and the plastic frame, but I wouldn't do that. I would definitely not do that. Yellow Captain says, yo, I need more lube. That's what she said. JRFPV says, what's up, CiottiFPV and everyone? Scrolling. Thanks for doing the thing, YouTube, you dirty rat. Fucking. I'm trying to use the goat scream instead of cursing. I don't like it so far. I don't like it. I gotta put it on the keyboard. I gotta put spacebar as a hotkey for the goat sound. Then maybe it'll work. Kenny Kobe's got a Hero 5 for sale and a 7 and 8. There you go. Flyborg FPV says, what insurance do you find suits you for the jobs you're currently going on? I have not had to have insurance yet, Flyborg. Typically for a really big job, or it typically depends on the location. If the location that you're flying at requires it, or if the person hiring you requires it, yeah, they need to tell you. But most of what I've done has been a little gorilla-y. Not really, but yeah, it's not been something that anybody has asked for yet. I've been on pretty small productions thus far. But if you go on Google and type in drone insurance, there's 2 companies I think that offer it, and they both have an FPV version of their insurance. Apparently, it's not all that expensive. And you can just get it for the day, and it's supposedly not all that bad. Justin Ald says, just bought the iFlight Type-C to 5-volt balance plug charging cable for GoPro Hero 9. Flew for the first time with GoPro, and what a difference it makes in your flight. It does, yeah. Getting the battery out of the GoPro saves a considerable amount of weight. Unfortunately, so I've had to use mine once. There was a point, one of these gigs, where I had a Crossfire failsafe, and it grenaded the GoPro 8, but it only grenaded its ability to pull power from the battery. When I plugged the Hero 8 in with that little breakout cable, jib jab, it powered up, and I was able to fly the rest of the gig. What I realized is that my least favorite thing about it is that if you forget to hit stop recording on the Hero 8, it's bad. I think you lose the whole file. Don't quote me, but yeah, I think you lose the entire file if you just cut power to the GoPro by unplugging it or whatever. The other thing I don't like is you've got like wires hanging off on the front, and that's just, that's just another failure point. So be careful with it. It's how the naked GoPros work, and it's one of the reasons why I haven't gone down the naked GoPro route yet, because it's introducing additional failure points, and those are the things that'll bite you in the ass when you're on a real set with real stress and shit like that. So, but yeah, in terms of weight, it's pretty wild what removing 20-something grams can do to the way a rig flies. This is why I build light. This is why the glide frame, in my opinion, is the best of the 5-inch frames. This is why I fly 2306s versus 2207s or 8s or 2506s. 2306s make plenty of power, and they're the lightest. You can find them in sub 30 gram with the wires cut short. This is why I fly 6S 1050 mAh 170 gram batteries. Yeah, light rigs fly better, period. And if for some reason you want your rig to be heavier, you put a bigger battery on it. You build a light rig and then you put a bigger battery on it. Unfortunately, if you put too big of a battery on it, well, now the light frame is going to be a little bit too weak for the all-up weight. But yeah, I mean, if you put like a 6S 1300 on one of my glides, it'll fly for like 20 hours straight. So, you wouldn't... no. You could probably get 20 minutes up in the air with it, though. I would not be surprised. Joey Whitaker says, no Uncrashed for Mac. Well, they're... F you, Uncrashed, you PC Master Race jerks. Espander says, Uncrashed is not bad at all. RGMG says, before you buy a new MacBook Pro, I'll never do that. Apple just came out with a Mac Studio, always something new out. Yeah, I will never buy a new MacBook. That's insane. They charge so much money for them. It's just ridiculous. Used computers for the win. Tom's Lazy says, you've been at the barber shop again? LOL. I got my hair cut a while ago. It's been about a month, though. Kenny Kobe says, I learned an FPV secret today, and I instantly realized, and then he's got a picture of a face. And then he also says, does anyone turn iTerm on and demin off? You talking about iTerm relax, Kenny? You can't really turn... Your regular iTerms should never be zeroed out to turn them off. That's not... The rig is not going to fly properly at all with that. If you're talking about iTerm relax, that's on by default. And it works incredibly well, so you should always leave it on. In terms of turning demin off, in my opinion, it's not a great idea. The demin dmax setup works really, really, really well. And it can pretty much eliminate prop wash. So turning it off doesn't really make all that much sense. I know Mark Spatz talks about doing it in certain very specific cases. But yeah, I've run it off, I've run it on. Our rigs fly so much better with it on. It's just it's one of the things that really, it's one of the many things that makes Betaflight so much better than all the other flight firmwares. So there's that. Athix says, I can agree with the lag on HD0 and analog. flying 500 milliwatt HD 0 right now. How'd you get 500 milliwatt? You have the big VTX turned down to half power? Or are they making a 500 milliwatt VTX and I didn't hear about it? That could totally be it. YouTube just did the thing again. Joey Whittaker says, at Ciotti, you were talking about throttle control. That's in reference to a comment that I read, and I said, I don't know what this is in reference to. I'm scrolling back up to try to find it. No truer words, bro. Got it. Yeah. Throttle resolution is a really, really, really big deal. Just building rigs with maximum power is a really good way to not have your footage look all that good. As little power as possible is one of the secrets of most pro pilots. Espander says, how's the Insta360 Go 2 in low light? Just awful. It's not awful. It's not awful, but it's certainly not good. Low light is where you really get to see the difference that sensor size makes. Specifically, in low light, if you compare a GoPro to an Insta360 Go 2, you really get to see the advantage of a bigger sensor. The Insta360 Go 2 has a very small sensor because it's a very small camera. GoPros, they don't have big sensors, but they have sensors that are a lot bigger than the Insta360 Go 2 does. And yeah, it becomes immediately evident during low light situations. So it's not terrible, but it's also not great. If you're used to a GoPro, you're gonna notice that it's considerably worse. So what my typical like flow is, if I go out to fly golden hour, is I fly all of the 3-inch rigs first, so that the run cam hybrids, which also have tiny little sensors, and the Insta360 Go 2 footage is at the point where I showed up with the most possible light. And then after I'm done flying the small stuff, I'll start flying the big stuff. That also allows me to kind of feel the spot out with the smaller rigs, which is also really nice because, like, if it's a spot that I've maybe only flown once or twice and there's like people walking or something like that, I will see the people walking when I'm flying a harmless 3-inch rig versus a death machine 5-inch rig. JRFPV says, what would be the best way to capture high quality still shots with a 5-inch? Is it just to get a screen grab from GoPro? Just wondering if you ever had to do this, and if so, how. The best way would be to set the GoPro on time-lapse mode at the lowest possible interval, which I think is half a second. I think you can tell it to take a picture every half a second. That's going to be how you get the best quality shots. The only problem with that is that every half a second might not be enough to capture like the shot that you're really looking for. So the other way to do it would just be to run 4K on 30 frames a second, and then you're going to get 30 frames a second instead of 2 frames a second. So it kind of depends. If you're looking to do like, if you're looking to take like landscape portraits, right, where there's not fast moving action, put it on time lapse, and it'll take like, I don't know, 8 megapixel images or something like that. If you're flying like a drifting event and you want to get still shots of the drift cars, maybe put it into 4K 30, and then you'll get 30 frames a second, and you might catch that magical moment. I've actually been I've wanted to do the time lapse thing at a drift event to try to get a little bit. I mean, at 4K 30, it's pretty decent quality. It's kind of shockingly decent quality, but I've been very curious about running it at in time lapse mode to get even better quality stills. The sensor is pretty small in the GoPro, so there might actually be the situation where 4K 30 images versus their time-lapse images. Yes, the time-lapse images will be bigger files and they will have more pixels, but if those pixels are garbage, then it doesn't make a difference. Like this is one of the really dirty secrets in the photography world, which is that megapixels don't matter at all. It is just such a terrible measure of the quality of a camera. You can have, so I have a couple of DSLRs, a couple like 10 plus year old Canon DSLRs that I film myself on in Studio 1 and 2 for these live streams that are only like 5 or 4 or 6 megapixels, but they have good glass and they have big sensors. These DSLRs will take images that are 1,000 times better than like a new pocket cam that's like 30 megapixels. It's easy to make a sensor. Well, it's not easy, but you know what I mean. It's easy to make a sensor that has a gazillion tiny little megapixels on it. But if there's too much noise and they're too compressed together, the pixels that it captures look like ass. We get to see this, like, this is the difference between like the Runcam Thumb and the Insta360 Go 2. You know, you might be able to turn them both up to 2.7K, but there's going to be a huge difference in image quality between the two of them. I mean, in that case, it's a money thing, right? One of them costs $300, the other one costs $50. But it's also just a sensor quality issue. So yeah, megapixels don't mean shit. Always remember that, especially if you're ever buying a still camera. The megapixel number is completely irrelevant. It means absolutely dick. And to be honest, a really high megapixel camera that takes shitty pictures is a nightmare because the file size is going to be huge. You're going to have these gigantic files with all these pixels that look like ass. It's way better to have a much older, lower megapixel camera that takes better pictures. Your file sizes are smaller and the images look better. All of that applies to video cameras as well. I'm just not super experienced with video cameras to be calling out, you know, the Sony C100 versus the Glip Glop Flippity Flob. Where are we at here? We got that. Dan636 says, just came back from a rip and my confidence is restored. Camera angle is way too high and throwing me off. Thanks for the encouragement you give out, dude. Much appreciated. Really good call on the camera angle. Camera angle will completely screw your flying up. As little as like a 5-degree difference in camera angle it's wild how much that will affect your confidence level. You're gonna really notice it on power loops. With a power loop, you're looking straight ahead. You start to pull back, and then there's a point where it's all sky. If you have a whole bunch of up tilt, that point where it's all sky comes earlier. Look at how little angle is on the quad, right? Versus if you have a little bit of up tilt, like this rig does, the point where you see all sky has you shooting yourself backwards. So small changes in up tilt have a big impact on your flying. So always keep that in mind. Always try to match up your up tilt on as many of your rigs as possible. And that's going to help you out a ton. Same deal as what we talked about earlier, consistency. You want your gear to be very, very, very consistent. That's one of the best things that you can do to try to improve your piloting skills. Loon187 is in the house. He says, I'm going to fight you. What's up? What's going on, Loon? Good to have you back, man. T-Bird says, I used Verify app for daily insurance, but I've changed to State Farm. Verifly. Verify is $10 per hour. State Farm is $64 for the year for $1 million coverage. Jesus. For $64, I'm just gonna do it. State Farm drone and insurance. Awesome, dude. Thanks for the tip. Yeah, look at that. Personal articles policy. Very cool. Okay. Espander says, sorted my death rolling rig. You weren't wrong, and it was an ESC. It was missing a capacitor from the underside. Nice. Have no idea how it got knocked out. Sticks and stones will break our drones. Shit. Nice. Kenny Kobe says, Ciotti, forgot to type FPV. My card won't send my super chat. Thank you. I got you when I fix it. Sounds good, Kenny. You can also go to CiottiFPV.com. Scroll down. There's a PayPal button. That way, YouTube won't take 30%. Either way, it's all good. Frank Nicholas says, $600 equals extra DJI goggles for business purposes. Got it. So it's 600, and then it's also 800 though, because you need the smart controller. But yeah, I mean that's only a tiny part of the story when it comes, to somebody that's on analog switching to DJI. But we've talked that to death. So, Espander says 3-inch is so much less intrusive than 5-inch that I was able to get my 300-gram quad within about 1 to 1.5 feet. To a pigeon's faces. Nice, Espander. Yeah, it is unbelievable, the difference in anger between 3-inch and 5-inch. Oh my god, my neck is not doing well. Cole Power says RunCam thumb tops out at 1080/60. Does it really? That's a shame. Hey, one of the things that came with the Brain 3D sponsorship. If you don't know, I'm now sponsored by Brain 3D. I've been running their TPU for ages, as well as BMC 3D. But yeah, Brain 3D is a wonderful part of the FPV community. They're wanting to do a Brain 3D sponsored giveaway on the channel, and one of the ideas was RunCam Thumb. So stay tuned for that. That will, I don't know if that'll be a Patreon only giveaway, but join my Patreon anyway. It's only $3 a month. It makes a huge difference. Patreon is the thing that keeps these live streams going. So as many of you guys that can afford 10 cents a day, joining the Patreon is a really, really, really big deal, and it'll keep this, free on YouTube content coming. And if the RunCam Thumb giveaway or giveaways do pop up, there's a chance that they will be Patreon only. Maybe not, but we'll see. I'm going to have that conversation with Brain 3D and let them make the call, because they're going to be, sponsoring that giveaway. Cole Power says the Glip Glop Flippity Flop will shoot 5.3K 60 8K interpolated, so the ISO goes halfway to the moon, but the pixels are indeed garbage. I had a feeling. Yeah, as soon as I started to talk about that, I was like, this is pointless. Just 4K 30. Let me reread that. Thanks for looking that up, Cole. I can't imagine that you knew that offhand. If you did, I'm impressed and horrified. What are we talking about? We talking about Hero 8, Hero 10, 5.3K 60. Okay, so that's Hero 10. So Hero 10 will it really do 60 frames in 5.3K? I didn't know that. I thought it would only do 60 in 4K. That's wild. 5.3K 60 or 8K with stills. Interpolate is a word in the stills community. And the ISO goes halfway to the moon, but the pixels are indeed garbage. Oh, interesting. So when it gives you more ISO, yeah, that makes sense. It gives you more ISO range when you flip it over to shoot stills mode. Are there really fake Ciottis on PayPal? That's scary. That's why you want to use CiottiFPV.com. CiottiFPV.com, scroll down, there's a PayPal me button. It'll go straight to me. You'll be good to go. Thanks again for looking that up, Cole. Very cool of you. DocCock100 says, do you find flying all different size quads slows your learning process? It doesn't slow my learning process. It reverses my learning process. I swear, I shit you not. Every single time I don't just fly 5-inch freestyle. Like, let me put it this way. At the beginning and the end of every single live stream, I play freestyle flight footage, typically from 2020 and 2021. Most of that freestyle footage that I play at the beginning and the end of the streams, within a couple seconds of me watching it, I go, oh my god, I was way better back then at 5-inch freestyle. And it's true. It is absolutely true. I have definitely gotten worse at 5-inch freestyle flying since I started flying more three. So there was a period. So my first year in the hobby, I only flew tiny whoop and initially 2.2 inch, but then that turned into a 2.5 inch rig and then into a 3-inch rig. Sub 3-inch stuff. First year to a year and a half, only tiny whoop, 2-inch, 2.5 inch, 3-inch. Then I built a 5-inch rig. So, and I got pretty good. I flew a lot. I flew 10 plus batteries a day. There was a long period of time where I would spend at least 30 minutes in the simulator every single night, no questions asked. There came a point where I could kind of feel the lack of momentum was holding me back, right? I'm watching YouTube videos of people flying 5-inch rigs. I'm trying to do all the same moves as them. There's certain moves that I just can't do with really lightweight rigs. So I built a 5-inch rig right before Quad Camp Atlanta, the original Quad Camp Atlanta, where all the power loop and Matty flip around the tables in the warehouse shenanigans went on that kind of put me on the map. The next 2 to 3 years in FPV, I almost exclusively flew 5-inch rigs because as soon as I started flying that 5-inch rig, I realized that it flies better because there's been a bigger, longer, stronger R&D cycle on 5-inch than anything else, especially back then. Back then, we really didn't have good gear for micros. So I realized it flew better, and I realized that I needed the consistency. And I just kind of looked at my stuff, and I was like, well, if there's one thing that I'm going to fly all the time, consistently, it's going to be this 5-inch rig. I was in Charleston at the time. I knew a bunch of spots where I could safely fly 5-inch rigs every single day. And so that's what I did. For years, I just flew 5-inch rigs. Every once in a while, I'd put a tiny whoop up in the air and fly a couple of batteries or 3-inch rig up in the air, whatever. But 99% of the batteries flown were on 5-inch rigs for a huge chunk of time there. And then I guess the beginning of 2021 where my personal life really started to fall apart. And also when the live streams became like the thing for me, a full-time thing. I'm known as the micro guy, right? Or the micro king, whatever. And yeah, I do that's my niche. And when you try to make YouTube into a career, basically, right? Is kind of what I'm doing. You got to have a niche. Being a big fish in a small pond makes a lot more sense, especially when you're trying to get started, than being a little fish in a big pond. So I went back to 3-inch rigs, and what was also nice is by that point we actually finally had some good components. We had some good electronics, we had some good motors, we had some good frames. So it kind of made sense to dive back into smaller rigs. But I just watched my progression disappear. Initially, like, my getting better kind of disappeared, but after a little bit more time, I actually started to notice that I was getting worse when I would go out and fly 5-inch freestyle, because I would fly my first 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 batteries was spent just trying to adjust my brain to a rig that weighs 610 grams versus 210 grams. And that's a huge adjustment. Like, as soon as you come off the throttle, as soon as you generate a bunch of momentum and you come off the throttle, the distance that the rig travels is very specific to the weight and the prop size. And when you do those moves, when you do those off-throttle momentum moves, that's when a lot of the crashes happen too, right? Those are some of the hardest things to do because it's all judgment. You approach the top of a tree and you have to figure out, how hard do I have to throw this thing? How early can I chop the throttle to get it to carry over the tree into the, into the gap between the next 3 trees or whatever. So yeah, and like sitting here today, it's probably been like 6 months since I've flown 5-inch freestyle. So whenever I get out and fly 5-inch freestyle again, it's going to be a shit show, and I know I'm going to get really frustrated. The other thing that I'm having to deal with right now is that after flying mainly Cinewoop stuff last year and mainly flying cinematic, my freestyle flight, the way that I fly when I fly freestyle is now completely different. And it's like very cinematic, and I don't necessarily like that. Like I have to push myself to, I have to like remind myself to when I'm flying freestyle to fly freestyle, because otherwise I'm keeping the horizon dead level all the time, and I'm just like sliding around, and it's cool looking, but it's not really freestyle. So yeah, your flying style will change more than you can believe when you start to switch gear up, or yeah, you'll see your flying style change quite a bit over the years. It's kind of fascinating. I love watching old footage, and mainly because I'll see stuff that like I used to do that I've kind of forgotten. And I'll be like, oh, I remember when I used to pitch forward after I did that, whatever. That's cool looking. I'm going to start doing that again. So watch your old footage. Kenny Kobe says, what's the PayPal again? I'll try that. Just go to CiottiFPV.com, scroll down, there's a PayPal button. I think it has a hold either way. I got you. CiottiFPV didn't come up. Freeloader dropping a bunch of links. Thank you, dude. Freeloader says, by the way, I only post CiottiFPV official links. Kenny Kobe says, Ciotti, please check my specialness. Your specialness? Does that mean check PayPal? I think it does. I'm going to take a guess. There it is! Kenny Kobe sent $5 on PayPal. He says, thanks, dude. Love you. LOL. Thank you, my friend. Very cool of you. Hey, also, Craig Mitchell, thanks for joining the Patreon. Very cool of you. One by one, man. With Patreon, it's one person at a time, and that's the way that it should be. You know, to be honest, with a lot of like social media, there's this tendency to think like, oh, I'm gonna have one video that's gonna blow up and it's gonna be great. I'm gonna get 1,000 subscribers from it. It's gonna be awesome. That's just not it. It just doesn't work like that. Social media, in my experience at least, it's one at a time. It's one sub at a time. You work for each sub. You work for each patron. You work for each, follow. It's hard to wrap your head around that, and there's times where it's like, Jesus. But that's the game. Maybe it's different for other people, but that's what it's been for me, and I have a feeling that that's what it is for most folks. So don't get discouraged, even for people that are somewhat established. It's one by one by one by one by one. I think I only saw one subscription pop up here today. That's okay. One's better than none. One today, one tomorrow, one the next day, one the next day. That's if you're trying to build up a following, you need to wrap your head around that, because otherwise you're going to get frustrated and you're going to say to hell with it. This is going to be impossible if it's one at a time like this. It's not. It takes a long time. If it were easy, everybody would do it. Flyborg says, I'm from Charleston, but I live in Greenville now. Where in Charleston did you fly? Oh man, I had a bunch of spots, Flyborg. My favorite spot though, and in my opinion, the best spot in all of Charleston is, I was there for 5 years, is the bridge going from, I forget the name of the town, into Daniels Island. you can fly under that bridge. There's a big ass two lane, 1 lane in each direction bridge that goes in and out of Daniels Island to like the mainland over by Solomon's Island. Under that bridge are a bunch of tennis courts, but then you can just drive under the bridge there and just fly all day. And you've got there's like a dozen 80-foot tall concrete here, I'll show you. We have the technology. This is 2020. I gotta go back to 2019, I think, for this bridge footage. Yeah, here you go. Here's some bridge. Oh, that's not. What is this? Here's some bridge footage. This is that spot. It's just incredible. Absolute favorite spot in all of Charleston. Hold on, let me quit out of OBS real quick to get audio. Be right back. It's gonna pinwheel for a second. I'll be right back. All right. There we go. Here is, in my opinion, the best spot in all of Charleston. I think this is when I was testing Kiss in Flight 1, which is why the rig is flying like assholes. In comparison to what you normally see from me, which is Betaflight. But yeah, this is the spot, man. You just drive right on this dirt road to the right here. You just drive right up and you park right there. It's so much fun. And you can actually run this. You could technically long range this bridge all the way over to the other side. See that gap between the pillars? You could technically run that. I never did because the long range stuff doesn't really interest me. But yeah, the only thing you got to be careful with this bridge is it's an active highway, so don't go up above the the bridge. Keep yourself down low. You see the cars there? Make sure you just stay down below the bridge and stay. And there's the tennis courts there. So yeah, just be mindful of that. So just never generate, like when you generate that upwards momentum like I just did, just keep it under control. Don't generate a ton of upwards momentum because you can, like that, like you can screw it up and accidentally fling yourself up in between those, in between the lanes. It's a pretty small gap there, so like there's pretty low chances that that'll happen, but, you know, the worst things always happen at the worst possible times. JRFPV says, you heard about the DJI firmware messing up the 1200 milliwatt upgrade. It actually doesn't mess up the 1200 milliwatt stuff. So Mads Tech put out a video 5 or 6 days ago. He just put out another video yesterday clarifying it a little bit more. Yeah, it won't prevent. I mean, there's no reason to do it. Right now is not a good time to update DJI V2 goggles. Apparently V1 goggles don't have to worry about it. But yeah, the V2 goggles, if it's, you should just watch Mad Tech's video. He breaks it all down way better than what I'm going to. But from what I understand, take this with a grain of salt. Watch his video. He's got the actual info. From what I understand, if you put, I don't know, just watch his video. MADSTECH. If you keep the goggles in, I don't know, I haven't used DJI yet, so I don't know. He says like if you put the goggles in like DJI FPV mode, but then he also says like you can also put the goggles in like DJI drone mode or some shit like that. I don't know. I've never turned the damn things on to know which is which. But yeah, it's from what I think he said, it won't prevent you from doing the thing to put it on 1200. What it will do is prevent you from this new. So someone has like figured out how to get into the root files of DJI. That's what it prevents. It prevents you from being able to do that. The reason why that matters is if enough smart people can get into the root files of DJI, maybe we can get proper canvas mode with proper OSD. And if you update your V2 goggles to the 00016, I think it is. Again, watch the Mad Tech video. Hey, somebody dropped. I'll get it. Yeah, so that's, but it won't prevent. Towards the end of the video, he says it will not prevent you from doing the 1200 milliwatts. I'm grabbing the link to the video. Here you go, and it's like a stealth update, so you got to be careful. Just don't plug your. It sounds, I don't know, me being insane. I'm just gonna be super careful when I plug my goggles into the DJI Assistant. Thank you, Daniel. You beat me by 1 second. So there's the link. Go watch that video. Definitely go watch that video if you're on DJI. Rick Kennedy says, "Are you in a Rampage this year? I have my tickets already and looking forward to it. Anybody in the collective going?" I'm hoping that I can go, Rick. I'm waiting on Stacy to get back to me about whether or not there's going to be a Micro Mayhem area. If there is going to be a Micro Mayhem area, same thing as, was it last year? Or was it the year before? Whatever. Same thing as the last Rampage. I will be building, setting up, and to some extent running the Micro Mayhem Madness, whatever it's called, area. If that area does not happen for this Rampage, I will try to snag another volunteer opportunity. Hopefully they're not all filled up. Even if they are filled up, hopefully the fact that I've volunteered for the previous 2 Rampages and some of the folks at Rotor Riot kind of know who I am, hopefully, you know, I can use that tiny little bit of notoriety to get in there. But I will not be like buying the $300 tickets or however much they cost. I will not be buying the tickets. If I go, I will go as a volunteer. So RGMG says, I'm in New Jersey. I've got some good bench spots secluded for FPV if you ever want to fly for fun near Long Branch, Sandy Hook. Very cool, RGMG. I was actually born in New Jersey, lived there for 30 some odd years. Don't make it back up there all that much because it's far, and I just really kind of can't afford to travel at the moment. But yeah, we'll see. Athix FPV says, I sent a video to you, Facebook due to size. Sounds good, Athix. I'll check it out after the stream. Actually, the stream is coming towards the end, which is good. I don't want my neck to start bothering me. I'm in a good place. It's only tweaked a couple of times so far this stream. I'm sticking with the whole don't man up thing and just take it effing easy and let it heal. And hopefully by tomorrow night it'll be healed. Because tomorrow night is a giveaway night, and I usually get all animated and crazy. If you want to get in on tomorrow night's giveaways, 3 of the 4 giveaways tomorrow night are Patreon specific. So head on over to CiottiFPV.com, hit the Patreon button. Once you get to my Patreon, it'll explain it. There's a $5 a month tier for Tiny Whoop and Toothpick stuff. There's a $10 a month tier for 3-inch micro brushless and Cinewhoop stuff. There's a $20 a month 5-inch tier for 5-inch parts. The prices of the tiers equate to the amount of money that I spend on the stuff that I give away in those tiers. 5-inch parts are more expensive than Tiny Whoop parts, right? So there you go. Zach Lothamer says, hey there, CiottiFPV and Collective. I got my QX7 yesterday and got a micro SD card and USB cable now. I just need a battery pack because I didn't have the AA battery tray with it. Zach, you came to the right place. I've bought a bunch of the QX7 specific batteries, and I do have opinions. The best one, the one that you want, is the gold line, the AU line. 4000 mAh, 1C, regular old Lipo, not LIHV. This fits beautifully. The XT30 cord is nice and long in case you want to do like I do and put a little notch in your battery bay door, and then you can have your little XT30 hanging out here that you can then plug directly into your modules. So yeah, the AU line 4000 mAh battery is the one to have. The RDQ sells this 3500 mAh battery. My biggest complaint about this is it's a high volt battery. So every single time that you charge this, you got to change the goddamn settings on your charger, and then you're gonna forget to change the settings back, and you're gonna accidentally high volt charge all of your other expensive like 5-inch batteries. It's not good. It's not good. And then there's the one that's in here now, I think. So then there's also this 30. This is the same battery, but from Pyrodrone with the regular old GNB branding. RDQ batteries are the same exact thing as GNB batteries, just with a different label on them. Same deal. This red GNB 3500 is a LIHV. And I think there's one more option. Do I have the other one in here? Nope, I don't have any battery in here. I think there's maybe one more battery option, but none of them are 4000 mAh and none of them are regular old Lipo. So yeah, this AU line is going to be the easiest to live with because, like I said, you're not going to have to remember to change your transmitter settings before and after you charge your one specific battery. It's just silly. Remy Tim says, yeah, that's what it was called. Micro Mayhem Madness Thingy Place. Yeah, Remy Tim helped me, and a couple other folks helped me build it, and we had a fucking blast, man. We had such a good time setting up all these LED lights in that area. I hope that we get to do it again this year. I also hope that Rotor Riot saved all of the LEDs from last year, because we had enough last year, but man, if we can get the same. So Beta FPV sponsored it last year, and they gave us $500. So I had a $500 budget that I could spend on Amazon. If they do that again this year, and we have like another $500 budget, ooh shit! If we have twice as many LEDs for that area this year, that'll be even more gnarly. And I think that Daniel and I learned a lot last year. Daniel is Remy Tim. I think we learned a lot last year after we built it and then we flew it. T-Bird also helped out. Sorry, T-Bird. Yeah, T-Bird, Daniel. Oh God. The guys from Florida helped a bunch. There were a bunch of people that helped out. Yeah, we all learned a lot. Like, we did some stuff that like we thought was gonna really work well. We spent a bunch of time doing some stuff that we thought was gonna work really well and be fun to fly through. And then like once you got up in the air, it was like, ooh God, like that's impossible. That little gap is way too small. So like if we do it again this year, yeah, it's gonna be even better. And everybody loved it last year, so kind of can't go wrong. Cole Power says, I'm an asshat. The Glip Clop doesn't exist. Hero 10 does 5.3 at 60 frames, 4K at 120, stills at 23 megapixels. Okay, stills are at 23 megapixels. Yeah, so 23 megapixels is just a ton of pixels, but they're not all good pixels. A proper DSLR shooting through proper glass at 23 megapixels, that's going to create gorgeous images. A GoPro at 23 megapixels is going to create images that are on par with like 10 megapixels would be my guess. Athix says it's the 9-inch flying. Very cool. Like Stewart says, I'm in Southwest Florida. How come there are no big Whoop events in the Southwest U.S.? They all seem to be in the Midwest and Northeast. Because nobody's putting them on, Mike. It's, you know, with FPV is such like a niche thing, right? That like somebody just has to do it. I know that's like very obvious, but it's true, right? Like think about it. Like like if you decided tomorrow that you were gonna do a Whoop event in Southeast Florida, you could, and then or Southwest Florida, you could. It doesn't take that much work. It certainly takes a lot of time and work. But you could certainly do that, and then that would get other people interested, and then other people would potentially like help out, and maybe they would take over the next event for you and stuff like that. It's all about like somebody just needs to do it, and it takes time, right? It takes time and effort, and it's kind of to some extent thankless, right? Like you're going to spend, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 hours, let's say, doing all the work, probably more than that, but you're going to spend a whole bunch of time doing all the work. And you're going to get a bunch of thank yous, but you're probably going to get like, I don't know, 10 hours of work worth of thank yous, right? So it's just, you know, people just need to do it. I have a tendency to get really involved in stuff, in hobbies. And that usually leads to me getting involved with like organizing bodies within those hobbies. So like, for example, back when I was super into motorsports, I got into autocross, which is basically the most budget friendly form of auto racing, and fell in love with it just being a competitor for a year or two. And wanted to get more involved, so I started talking to the people that organize and host the events, and it just happened to be that at the time, the co-chairs, which were husband and wife team, they were looking to transition over to track days and wheel-to-wheel racing, a much more expensive version of auto racing. And so they needed somebody to take over, and it was like, oh, I guess I'm taking over. So I did. I took over the whole entire South Jersey autocross program, and ran it for a couple of years, and you know, hosted events with upwards of 100 drivers, and it was a ton of work. But I just did it. You know, like they had like a program in place and they had everything all set up, and that's the thing that's going to take a lot of time with whoop races, right? Is like there's not like an organizing body that you can just be like, hey, yo, I want to be involved. You're going to have to build it from the ground up. But what is cool is you can just get in touch with the folks that have been putting these events, that have been putting the Whoop events on, and say, hey, what do I need to know? What do I not need to do, right? But the first big thing is just somebody saying, hey, I'm going to do this. Much easier said than done. But yeah, you just got to have that person that just says, you know what, I love this so much that I'm going to put the time in to do this. And I don't think it'll take as much time as you expect, or anybody expects that wants to do it. But yeah, it all has to start with somebody just going, you know what, fuck this, I'm going to do it. Nobody else has done it yet, I'm going to do it. And, you know, that's how legends are made, yo. It's true, right? Like, first person to do something, they're the legendary OG that goes down in the history books. I don't know what that was. T-Bird says it was fun at Rampage. Yeah, it was super fun. Super Lux is in the house. What's up, brother? Kenneth. I couldn't remember his name. Thank you, Dan. God damn it. Thank you. Kenneth. What's Kenneth's name on YouTube though? I was really trying to think of his YouTube name. He's got a funny YouTube name. It makes me laugh every time. Yeah, it was Kenneth that helped us out a ton, and there were a couple other folks. Justin Ald says, "Are you a pincher or a thumber?" Pinch for life, Justin. In my opinion, thumbs are just too like willy-nilly. It's just you're with your thumbs. There's too much of a tendency to like and just. Whereas when you bring another finger in there, you can't do such a sharp motion, and the sharp motion is what makes people go like, oh god, when they watch you flying. T-Bird says, people are wanting to race outside versus whoops inside in Florida. Ah, it's true. Whoops are normally a cold weather thing. Good point. Whoops are the best, though. Mike Stewart says Ciotti Whoop event in Atlanta, May 2022. I'll put my name on it, but I don't have the time to like figure out all the hosting and the running and all that stuff. But I'll certainly talk about it, and if somebody wants to do it, I'll throw my name on there. What the hell? Pinch for the win, Jeff PV says. It is 4:50. If anybody has any last minute amazing questions, drop them in the chat. Otherwise, I might call it a tiny little bit early here so that I can go relax on the couch and hopefully my neck will get a little bit better here. So we missed out on DJI. I know how to fill the last 10 minutes. We missed out on DJI week day 7. And day 7 was supposed to be, so for the first 6 days, I just built. Let me show you what I built, friends. Is this really all that I built? No. There's also a Cinesplorer. There's a Cinesplorer. I actually need to change the bloody camera on the Cinesplorer, I realized. So I moved this Cinesplorer over. I left the ducts off because I need to get at the plugs for what I was going to do on DJI Day 7. So I did the Cinesplorer. I need to switch the camera out. I wasn't thinking. And then I changed the Razorback here over to the Imperial 25mm FPV cycle motors. And I switched DJI into it, and I just cleaned it up and did some other stuff to it. So we got this that's ready to go. There's an Apex that T-Bird sent me that's on DJI. That's still sitting out there. I didn't build that, but that needs to get bound and set up as well. And then I scratch built this Cineglide. Which is on DJI as well. So I have I focused for the first 6 days on hurting my neck by just doing bench work and just being hunched over for 8 hours a day. Day 7 was supposed to be power the goggles up for the first time, get them updated or not, look at what version firmware is on them, and be ultra careful to not upgrade them to the new Stealth 0016 or whatever the hell it is firmware, and then get all the vistas updated as well and bound and all that good stuff. But instead, I hurt my neck, so I still need to do that. I don't know. I'm realizing that if I do it on stream, it's going to be a lot of just me putting the goggles on and you just staring at me with the goggles on my big dumb face. So maybe I'll just do all that shit offline. If I do it offline, I can just be like, yo, Patrick, who's been on DJI for a while, let's hang out, and I'm going to put you to work. Help me. So I might just do that. Because, like, what's there to see? You know, I'm going to... I don't know. Maybe there is something to see. I'm brand new to DJI. So I don't know. I don't know if I should do that on the stream or not, but I just, at this point, I just kind of want to get it done. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Dan636 says, go see you a chiropractor tomorrow. No, it's, I really, my healthcare money goes to talk therapy. This is not bad enough to need to go to a chiropractor. This is just, yeah, sore. Espander says, when are you planning to start flying DJI? As soon as I get everything bound and updated to some extent. Is there like, hold on, here I'll do it right now. Ready? These are the V1s. Let's see what if they're not plugged into the computer. I can't ruin them. So let's see. Is there a way to look at what firmware is on them, chat, in the menus, like by just powering them up? Giorgio says, the bridge seen earlier in your video looks perfect for practicing Matty flips. Is that local to Atlanta? It's not like you're flying under Spaghetti Junction, are you? No. That is in Charleston, Georgia. That is like one of the few really, really, really good spots in Charleston, South Carolina. It's a fly. See Super Lux's comment. If I paid for your plane ticket, would you come out to not Cali? I think North California and fly with me. It depends, Super. It would need to get planned somewhat around my personal life, which is about to explode in many good ways, and the live streams, but I very well might. What am I doing? They need a battery. I very well might. I love California. I've only been there once to shoot my shoot stills for my cousin Andrea's wedding, and I remember saying, "Yo, I need to get back here. This is amazing." So I've been dying to go back. Look at that! I plugged them in. I think I've plugged them in before. There's a DJI logo in very high quality. So Joshua is sending me his smart controller. So there's so at some point I'll potentially be able to plug these into HDMI and maybe get it into the computer. DJI FPV goggles. Above devices not activated, that's not good. Connect to DJI Assistant 2 FPV series to activate and receive a complete product use experience. So that's a part of the scariness. Can I get into a menu? Well, so since these are not activated, I have to activate them. These are the V2s. I got to rewatch that Mads Tech video because he talks about, like, there's two different modes. There's like a DJI FPV mode, and then there's if you have them in one mode, it's gonna stealth update, and it's gonna mess them all up. It doesn't mess them all up. It just takes away any chance of doing something in the future with the root. It seems like it's worth it to be super careful with this update procedure. Man, it's been a long time since I've had to plug barrel connectors in. That shit is annoying. Hey, there's Patrick. Patrick, you willing to come help me out with this shit? Have you been keeping track of, have you been watching Mads Tech's videos about the stealth DJI update? I need a second set of eyes to make sure I don't brick these fucking things. Above devices not activated. Connect to DJI Assistant 2 FPV series. So I think that's okay. I think what Mads Tech says is as long as you have it in FPV mode, you can activate it and it won't put the thing that messes them up on there. But these aren't activated, so I don't think I can use them at all. I think I have to go into DJI Assistant. Air unit mode. Abraham says air unit mode. I think that's it. That's what it needs to be. Abraham also says, bro, you might have just locked yourself out. No, I mean I just plugged power in. They're not hooked up to Wi-Fi or anything. I can't imagine that just plugging power in bricked them, is it? T-Bird, you're right. T-Bird says, I think it's only with the FPV drone. Yeah, there's two modes that you can put these goggles in. One of them is air unit mode. One of them is FPV drone mode. I need to make sure that they stay in air unit mode. I don't know how to do that, but yeah. So then there's these that FPV Exchange sent over. I think these are, I assume that these are already activated, because somebody was using them. They have a spot on the screen. Yeah, there's a big old cluster of dead pixels in here. But these are going to be the goggles for directors and whatnot. So, okay, yeah, so these are activated. So what if I go into settings? Curious to see what firmware is on these, and I bet you I can get Bet you I can look that up. Device, maybe? Let's check in device. Reset all device info. Here we go. Goggles firmware version. Hey, these are on the good firmware. I don't even need to upgrade these. Goggles firmware version. So here is the good, that according to Mads Tech, this is the, man, why is the right screen so blurry? Ooh, IPD. Oh, hello. Oh, hi. Oh, man. The firmware version that you want is 01.00.0606. That is supposedly the most recent firmware that it'll work with the root stuff. It'll work with all the stuff. So even if these V2s are bricked from me plugging power into them, these V1s are good to go. So in theory, I can maybe just update. I know that the goggles and the Vistas have to be on the same firmware. So in theory, I can just plug a bunch of these Vistas in, get them onto that same 0606 firmware, and I'll be good to go. But I'm going to wait because I don't want to do anything wrong. And I'm not going to go out and fly right now because my neck is all jacked up. So it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Let me get caught up on chat. Hey, look at that. It was perfect. 10 minutes. Let me get caught up on chat, and then we will shut this down for today. I'll see you guys again tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern for the giveaways. Dragon Wing says, yes, settings and then about. Dragon Wing, we got that. P. Richard Scott says, welcome to hell. Abraham says, bro, you might have just locked yourself out. Go to device settings, device info for firmware. Dragon Wing says, if they're not activated, you're effed, I think. Will stop you from using any benefits that might come through the root hack. Which, you know, I mean, maybe nothing comes from the root hack, right? Like maybe DJI's... we'll figure it out. But I think that Mads Tech said that a new set of V2 goggles, you can just... I think he said that you can... I don't know, I gotta rewatch it. We posted the link earlier. It's on his channel, Mads Tech. You should be subscribed. He's a good guy. Veritas Weasel says, I know the latest FPV patch, but DJI will prevent you from downgrading the software, but I don't know if that's specific to the goggles. Yeah, so that's the other problem with this new like stealth update, is that it makes it so that you can't downgrade to the old 0606 firmware. Expander says, yes, you have to activate everything to use it. What I didn't finish saying is, I think from what Mads Tech was saying, I can activate these V2 goggles only in air unit mode. And that will prevent the chaos. I think that's what he said. P. Richard Scott says, there's a specific version, don't upgrade to that specific firmware. Mads Tech knows which one. V2 goggles, I know nada. Doc says, doesn't the stealth update just stop the exploit? They'll still work fine if you don't use exploit. Yes, Doc. The only thing that the stealth update does is it prevents you from backdating, and which prevents you from using this new root thing that just popped up. You can still do 1.2 gigawatts. You can still do the other thing. The stuff that you put in through the memory cards, yeah. Mads Tech is streaming right now. That's funny. He's streaming about this right now. Somebody tell him Ciotti is streaming right now, and he's about to update. Wait, no, we're gonna go into his live stream. All right, hold on. Let me turn the volume down a little bit. Yo, bro. Oh wait, no. This is the wrong scene. Hold on. Ready? Stream Inception. Yo, bro. I'm streaming right now, too. And I have a brand new set of V2 goggles that I don't want to screw up. in your vid from yesterday, I think you said I can activate, I'm gonna run out of characters, them in air unit mode, right? Oh! Just enough. Okay, there we go. Alright, so let's turn Mads Tech up. I don't think he'll copyright strike me. Let's see if he writes a comment. This is super fun. Thanks for mentioning that, P. Richard Scott. I saw that he had a live stream scheduled. I think he's reading it right now. Why did I just lose audio? Oh, come on. Hold on. Wait, no, there it goes.
That is a very good question to kick us off. So,
He's
are
back.
they V2 standalone? Were they bought as V2 standalone goggles, i.e. they were not taken from a kit from an FPV drone, is the first question I will ask. Because it could make a difference.
As just goggles.
But just double check that first of all. Jonas, we are going to talk about Jonas in a minute. We are definitely...
Oh, this is too fun. It won't brick him, Kenny. Why do I keep...
crap together? They
got it.
should be in the right mode. So connect them to Assistant 2 for FPV.
Assistant 2 for FPV.
Them. If it asks you to update the firmware, don't do it a minute. You shouldn't need to, but it will be interesting to see. However, you should be fine. Just connect them to Assistant 2 for FPV. You will need to activate it because DJI are going to force you, but there should be no problems there.
I'm going to do it, guys.
If you do it from Assistant 2, you are fine.
Assistant 2.
The real issue will be is if they've come in FPV drone mode. This was happening for some people at one point, but DJI have resolved it.
Says
again.
you're
going to do it live. So okay, we're going to have to do a live on live. No, wait a minute. We're going to have to... Let me bring it up. Let me find you.
Alright, this is cool. So, I need to download it.
She's advert first, so he gets the
oh god, I'm so ashamed that I've monetized.
I don't skip it for him.
That's cool of him. Told you he was a cool dude. Alright. Why do I keep losing? There we go.
Of hell if I do this.
Tunnel of hell.
Very badly.
Okay.
I can't. Let me.
All right, here we go.
I'm
gonna grab this.
If anyone saw Linus the other day, Linus did a video showing him logged into a computer that he was logged into.
All right, here we go. It's downloading. Let's go.
This is quite
done.
funny. Live on live.
The delay. I wonder what the delay is like.
Make sure it's Assistant for FPV because there's about 8 different versions. Because DJI likes to
come
do
on,
that.
DJI. Really? Assistant for FPV. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, I would have gotten the wrong one. DJI Assistant 2, DJI FPV series. Okay, good.
No.
So that's the one that we want.
Assistant 2. You want to find Assistant for FPV.
So it's this one.
Yeah.
Okay, keep it. And wait. So it would have launched. It didn't
he's
launch.
using a Mac as well.
Yeah, welcome to hell. Open when done.
Problems.
Actually, I'm gonna have to do the security nonsense. I'll bet.
No,
go.
I like Macs, but
where we at? Where we at? Security and privacy.
The delay is funny.
Okay, open anyway. All right, here we go.
Now they have had some major issues with Assistant and Mac, but I haven't.
Let me kill
tried
this.
it in a while myself.
I downloaded the second one. What? All right. DJI FPV Series 2.1 package. Let's try one more time. Go to downloads. Hopefully there's nothing dirty in there.
PC.
DJI Assistant 2, DJI FPV Series. Okay, please work. Go ahead and work now. You can go ahead and work. DJI software, please. Please.
They have had some major issues on Mac.
Okay. It's just like, I'm not into this. Oh, wait, here it is. Wait, no, what?
Can't remember what the workaround is now.
Hold on.
What version of OS X you running?
Old. I have a newer computer, though. This is, El Capitan 10.11.6. That's probably the problem. I'll probably have to do this on the laptop. That's fine. All right, we're not doing it live, friends. Mads Tech, you're the best, though. Thank you, dude. I think I know what I need to do here. Everyone carry on. I'm actually going to end this live stream, friends.
No problem.
Mads Tech, thanks. Guys, if you don't go subscribe to Mads Tech, I'm going to pound you with a hammer. Here. Here's the link to his current live stream. Go subscribe, or I will attack you physically. See you guys tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern. I love every single one of you. Be good.
I'm going to hop off.
That was super fun.
That was funny. Hopefully he has any issues, mate. Reach out. We'll figure it out.
Love it.
Goody, right. Let's get the thing back.
All right, that was super fun. All right, guys, be good. I'm gonna play around with this on the computer, but I'll probably need to do it on the laptop so that it's an operating system from this century. Love you guys. Be good. I'll see you tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern. My neck hurts. Here comes some flying. Oh, some more under the bridge flying for you. Bridge flying is always good flying. I do have a DJI account from the Mavic too. All right, people, love you. Goodbye. And I don't know what else matters. Oh yeah, 4S pitch is 5.5. I'm gonna go up to 5.8.